things that struck me a lot this week. Let the siren go by. That struck me a lot this week in thinking about our journey here was that, and we were talking about it a little bit, we had a meeting before everyone came today to really talk about the center and the future for this community and the center. And the thing that struck me during the meditation was the whole reason for me in the beginning, and I started the center with my husband, was to come together as a community and to share and to get a sense of who we really were, like to understand ourselves more deeply, to feel like we could come to a group and be who we are, and be accepted for who we are, and be able to shine who we are, and to also be able to take away each time some bit of wisdom for ourselves, a little bit of an understanding more of who we are, or even a confirmation of who we are. So that was coming to me as I was sitting there and I was being taken on this journey. And it brought me back to this whole idea of our soul's journey here. And this week, there was a lot of friends and people that we know, my husband and I know, that were having difficult times. And it struck me that, what if our soul has come for this specific reason, right? Whatever might be happening, whatever challenge might be going on, that this is exactly why we're here. Exactly why we're here. That our soul has come in to learn this, to master it, to whatever it might be, but that this is why we're here. And I've really been sitting with that for me, that makes sense. Because we think sometimes this is random. Why are these things happening? You know, I'm a good person, I'm praying, I'm doing all these things, and why is my life falling apart? Why are these things happening? What am I doing wrong? How many of us ask that question sometimes? What am I doing wrong? Well, what if you're not doing anything wrong? What if everything you're doing is right? What if this is exactly where you're supposed to be, and the time, and the lesson, and the learning, and it's taking you to the next place? Doesn't that feel better to know that? I really believe that that's the truth. That we've all come here for this amazing journey we call life. And I remember Michael Beckwith, who's my teacher in America, said, when I was learning and studying all this, and he said, you know, the spiritual journey, and I'll just say it in his words, is not for wimps. It's a very American word, but not for wimps. That you have to be so courageous to be on this journey, to be willing to go through the fire, to be willing to know that through the other side is going to take you higher and better and, you know, help you through the rest of your journey. So look around at all the courageous people in this room. Really, look around, you know, and turn to the person next to you and say, you're really courageous.
You're really courageous.
Curtis, you're really courageous. Because you know what? We all are. We all are, because you're in this room, because you're on this journey. We're on this journey together. And sometimes it feels very alone, doesn't it? Believe me, I know. You know, sometimes it feels very alone, and sometimes, you know, I know for me, I went through a lot of years in a depressed place. And people look at me and they go, no, you know. And I knew, there's a part of me that knew that it was necessary for more light to come in. For me to do more in my life. For me to step up bigger. That it was an important part of the journey. It was necessary. And so I just held that. At times that I went, oh, like, what do I do, you know? Couldn't get out of bed. But I kept getting that message. I kept holding that vision. And if we look at all the things that have happened in our life and where those things have taken us, we didn't know at the time that those events would propel us to something amazing. Right? You know, I say to people, I wrote my book, Blessings of Gratitude, after having cancer, and I say to people, it was the best thing that ever happened to me, one of them. And people look at me like, are you crazy? But truly, what it did for me as a healer, as someone who spent their life with this mission in my head that I needed to take everyone's pain away, honestly, I went through most of my life until this period, and that was only 7 years ago. So, you know, huge part of my life thinking I was here to take everyone's pain away. God didn't make me big enough, I'll tell you. I mean, I'm 5'2", and I was carrying, like, can you imagine how much I was carrying on me? Burdens and burdens of everybody's pain in my body. And it really took getting burnout. It really started with adrenal burnout for me, and then my body, you know, the cancer came secondary to that. But what came out of it for me was such a blessing and such a miracle, because one, it taught me how to stop and give back to me, which is really a big thing. How many in here are like big givers? Like you give and give to everybody else. And it's about balance. It's about finding that balance. The soul's journey here is about finding that balance of giving and receiving, of looking after ourselves, of making that an important priority. Because we can't do the work here our soul needs us to do without doing that. This physical body is our vehicle, isn't it? To do that. So we need to take good care of ourselves. And I guess getting that from myself, I couldn't do healing work for an entire year. I still ran the center. I still kept the center going, but I couldn't work on anybody for a whole year. And that was major for me, because it's been my work for 30 years. So everything that happens is a very important part of this journey. Because we don't know at the time what gifts it's going to give us. We don't know at the time where it's going to take us, who we're going to meet that we wouldn't have met, or what journey it's going to take us on that our soul said, that's what I've come here for. My healing work now and my work just speaking is better than it's ever been in my life. I could have never imagined that it would be at this level. Because it taught me how to surrender more and let go more and not hold on so tight. So everything, this is all part of the soul's journey here. How many of you have been through a really challenging time, and at the time you didn't know, really what was going on or why it was happening, but afterwards you saw great gifts from it? So look around. And the greatest gift we can get another person when they're going through it is to say, wow, you're going to see amazing blessings when you go through this. Like, I'm holding you and I'm knowing that this is going to take you to an amazing place. Because we can't always see it right away. I didn't get cancer and go, woohoo! Like, wow, that's fantastic! I went, gotten the wrong test results. That really wasn't mine. You must be wrong. You know? My doctor told me in an email what the results came back as, the surgeon. And I went, no, it must be sent to the wrong person. So we have to go through what we go through. We have to go through the different feelings through it. It's part of it. The anger, the sadness, the grief, everything is part of the soul's journey. Really important part. Because those emotions need to move. We need to acknowledge them. You know, one of the biggest things with the work I've been doing is it's been about where we hold emotions in our body. And when I work with people, do you know what the biggest emotion is that I find in people's bodies? What do you think?
Fear. Grief.
Grief.
Who said grief? Grief. That underneath everything is grief. Because if we think about the journey from the time we were born, there's a loss. Right? We have so many losses in our life. And we don't know really, we haven't learned really how to express them or how to acknowledge them or deal with them. Is that true? I remember years ago this man called me up in Australia and he said, I heard about you, I want to come see you. I said, fine. And when he came, he said, I have shingles. You know what shingles are? They're part of the chickenpox virus. They're very painful and they usually attach to nerve endings. And they were located across his chest. And he said to me, I've had them for 3 weeks. They're not going away. I've been to doctors. You're my last resort. I'm usually people's last resorts. And he said, you know, I'm really hoping that you can help me. And I looked at where they were. And I said, they were right in the lung meridian and right in the area of grief. In Chinese medicine, the lungs are about grief and loss. And I said, well, this is going to sound really quite way out, but has there been any losses in your life recently? He sat up, he looked at me, he said, my best friend just died. And I asked him a question that I knew the answer to already, but I said, have you been able to cry, say goodbye to your friend, do whatever you need to do? And he said, no. And I said, your body's doing it. Until you do that, this won't go away. I said, do it in your way, whatever that is. Go home, write a letter, do your own way of saying goodbye to your friend. He came back a week later. How do you think they were? Healed. We need to be able to get in touch with these emotions and let them loose. That's going to help us do what we're here to do. Do the soul, follow the soul's journey. Even if you write it, whatever way, you know, everybody has their way. There's not one way. You know, some people paint and do it that way, express it creatively, dance, sing, do yoga, do, you know, whatever you need to do to get it to move out, to acknowledge it. Very, very important. I didn't even know I was going to talk about this. So that's part of this soul's journey, part of that importance to embracing our magnificence, because that keeps us down. That energy, when it's not moving, keeps us from being alive fully, from being vital, from being happy. Isn't that true? And I used to carry everybody's emotions. Everybody's emotions. I would feel them all. From the time I was 3 years old, people would walk by me, I'd feel their grief and their anger and you know, all of that. I don't know how I survived. We've got to keep moving this out of ourselves, so we're not carrying our own or other people's. It's so easy to be with someone, and you know, you might feel good, and they're feeling unhappy and sad, and you leave, and they're happy, and you're feeling, ah! Well, you just kind of took on their energy. So it's just important to keep asking the question, you know, what am I holding on to? What do I need to release? What do I need to let go of? What do I need to forgive? So we can move forward in this journey. So we can get more information coming through. So we can be more connected. Because the more we're holding on to stuff, we're not hearing the messages. We're not letting the energy move, or the energy move us. Isn't that true? So I have here to thank our soul for, so thank you soul for giving me the opportunity to grow and do what I'm here to do. So when there's a challenging situation happening in your life, to really embrace it and go, okay, thank you soul. Show me what I need to know. Guide me to, you know, how to move through this in the best way I can. Isn't that a really cool way of kind of approaching it? Thank you, soul. Thank you, spirit. Thank you, whatever you want to say. Thank you for guiding me, directing me. Makes the journey a bit easier. It's not going to stop things from what we need to happen, but it's going to embrace and help us to move through it with more joy. I have here, I'm grateful for the challenging times I've had in my life as they have supported me in being who I am today and making a greater difference. So what a great affirmation, isn't it? So I'm going to say it, you can repeat it after me. I'm grateful for the challenging times I've had in my life, as they have supported me in being who I am today, and making a greater difference. And that's something else I want to talk about. Lisa and I were talking about this last night, that sometimes when we're in a vulnerable place, when we're in a challenging place, it's important not to, we can't jump big. We can't jump into, oh, I'm so grateful. Like people go to me, yeah, Laurie, that's easy for you to say. Well, no, it's not. It took me a long time I keep practicing all the time too. You know, we're all on this journey. But to sometimes be able to say, okay, you know, I'm just willing to see this. I'm willing, because we can't jump sometimes too big from one place to another. So we need to get there little chunks at a time. And that's another important thing to remember, because sometimes on the spiritual journey you go, well, how come I can't get over there yet? You know? This is happening, but I'm not grateful for it. I can't feel grateful for it. That's okay. That's perfectly okay. Because you got to do the steps to get there. I didn't hear I had cancer and go, yay, I'm so grateful, you know? I'm not there yet. You know, I wasn't there yet. But I was able to afterwards to sit and go, all right, show me the blessing here. And that's years after working on this. But we have to remind ourselves, or have people around us to remind us. Because no matter where we are, we're still human and we forget sometimes. Don't we always, you know? That's why it's so wonderful for me to have this center, because we can share together and we're in it together. You know, we're all on this journey together. So remember, sometimes that you can't take too big of a jump to go little ones. Lisa and I were talking about that. Little chunks, isn't that? Little steps. Baby steps. Chunk things down. Make them really small so it's easier to go there. And one of the ways I find sometimes is just to say, I'm willing. I'm willing. You know, I'm willing to get a new understanding. I'm willing to see this in a new way. I'm willing to be grateful. I'm willing. That opens the door, doesn't it? I'm willing. Important 2 words. I'm willing. Because it's great sometimes to go, yeah, you know, I'm just gonna be happy and grateful all the time, and it doesn't always happen. And again, it's remembering that whatever is taking place is perfect. That it's exactly where you need to be, and it's exactly what's going to take you to the next place. That's the most important thing I can say today, to remember that no matter what is happening, no matter how scary it feels, or how overwhelmed you feel, or how fearful, or whatever, that it's exactly where you need to be for this next evolution, for this next part of your soul's journey. Yes?
Yes.
Good one to think about. Yeah? So close your eyes for a moment. Just invite you to close your eyes. And just take some deep, deep breaths. And if you'd like to, and you're a tactile person, you can place your hands at your heart center. And just breathe right in. We call, in Chinese medicine, we call the heart Shen, the center for the soul, the home of the spirit, Shen. So just breathe into your heart center, to that center of your soul, and just thank it. Thank your soul, thank your spirit, thank your being for this journey. For wherever it's taken you up until now, and wherever it's going to take you from this moment on. Feel that gratitude for this journey, for your soul's journey. Thank you, soul. Thank you for guiding me. Thank you for directing me. Thank you for taking me to wherever I need to be, and giving me whatever lessons and learning I need in this lifetime. Thank you for always loving me. And just breathe that in, deeply into every part of you. Breathe it in. And thank you, soul, for introducing me to all the other souls that I came here to meet. That came to help me in this journey. That came to teach me. That came to inspire me. That came to support me. Thank you, soul. And so it is. And when you're ready, you can just open your eyes. And I'll just finish with Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. said, "Take the first step in faith. You don't have to see the whole staircase. Just take the first step." Thank you.